Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Greg here, and today I have for you, horror is keeping physical media alive. And you guys know I love horror, especially 80s and 90s, and I love physical media, and I don't think physical media is dead or is dying on life support or anything like that as well. But I came across an article from Fangoria talking about physical media and keeping it alive in horror movies and boutique labels, and I thought, man, that's interesting. So I decided I'm going to do a video on it. So let's get over to this article. It says, is physical media dying? Not if these boutique Blu-ray labels can help it. Day of the Disc. The last decade has seen a continued rise in horror movie releases from specialty labels. Press play and go behind the scenes with the heroes keeping our collections alive by Tim Coleman. So let's scroll down. I do love that they use a picture from Stranger Things. I like Stranger Things. I'm actually a fan of that show. If you're not, that's okay, though. So it starts off here. It says, if you're a movie fan, you've heard it all before. Physical media is on the way out with the proliferation of streaming platforms from market leaders Netflix and Amazon Prime to more specialist providers such as Shudder, I like Shudder, and Arrow Player. The message, at least on the surface, appears clear. Streaming is the future, so throw away your disc. No, never throw away your disc, period. It's okay if you like streaming. That's fine. I know there's been some discourse lately of whether or not, people saying physical media is the way, physical media all the way, streaming down. Look, I think physical media is the superior format. I think you should always own a physical copy of your favorite movies, DVD, Blu-ray, VHS, Laserdisc, whatever you feel comfortable with. But if you also stream and go digital, that's fine. I won't buy digital because you'll never own digital. And I do think streaming sucks and is a broken system that is constantly losing money and relegating a lot of our favorite entertainment and these licenses battles where we can't have them. But anyways, let's go on to the article here. It says, however, while sales figure for physical medias have generally decreased, they have in recent years, a counter narrative is emerging. This is what I've been covering lately, the counter narrative emerging for horror and genre titles. The growth of labels such as Second Sight, Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, and Radiance, all great boutique labels, by the way, and others indicate that in many ways, horror appears to be bucking the trend, producing deluxe limited editions of beloved classics and new cult titles, which become more than just films. They are must-have collectibles in and of themselves. As Chris Holden of Second Sight puts it, horror has always been the most collectible of genres. That is so true because I do find myself buying more horror movies lately, and I do believe like a lot of these boutique labels specialize in horror, sci-fi, B-movies, cult movies, and stuff like that, and we're getting so many like 4Ks and Blu-rays of movies that I never would have imagined we'd ever would, especially coming from a decade in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that we thought would only stay on VHS personally. And it's also like Wes Craven once said that horror is the one genre fans will always show up for. I mean, look, you can see it in the theaters. So many horror movies succeed, whether they're good horror movies or not, because there's just something about people who love horror movies where they will go to theaters or they will buy the Blu-ray, the DVD, the VHS. Horror, 80s horror on VHS is huge still because it's just something about horror, that genre, that people love so much that they will go out and they will buy it. And I think it's still something of where you can still get some of that love of like older movies and stuff that you're missing in a lot of modern entertainment, even though I'm not much for modern horror, to be honest with you. I'm really not. But it continues, it says, it's something that scholar Dr. Eddie Falvey knows a fair bit about, a lecturer at Arts University Plymouth. He's written an upcoming journal article on physical media and prestige horror releases. If you are old enough to have grown up with some of these films on VHS, he reflects, then your experience will have been watching them in that quite shoddy format. That's true, because I think there's something about watching a horror movie on VHS, the dimness, the darkness, the quality of it, the hum of the tape. It breeds horror. It's just like there's something special, magical about that. And don't get me wrong, I love a brand new 4K. I do. I really do. I have one foot in the past, one foot in the future, and I try to find a way for each to meet. So there are these weird tensions on one hand, where nostalgic for films that people often associate with with their formative years, but also forward-facing about bringing these films up to scratch. That's sort of what I just said, isn't it? I have not read this article yet. The link back to the VHS culture of the 80s and 90s is important, and something which Falvey calls the hauntological aspect of Blu-ray collecting that is returning an item that is old and making it into something new. Indeed, for many of us who first fell in love with horror during the video shop era, the physicality of those tapes, the big boxes, the vibrant artwork was an intricate part of the charm. It's a quality that boutique Blu-ray labels replicate and do so well. I do think that's true because I find myself, you know, seeing these artworks and stuff of these new Blu-rays and boutique Blu-rays and 4Ks and stuff, and it reminds me of the video store, and it reminds me of so much of the video store. And I think that is something like, because I cover nostalgia here on my channel too, and there's something I love about nostalgia when it's done right, and something that you know, they always say you can't go home again, and I try to move forward. I try to keep growing. I try to keep going. We're not in the 80s or anything, but there's something special about the 80s and 90s that I still love going back to and visiting and trying to recapture. And I think that's okay. I think if you want to recapture that and live in that moment in time and maybe decorate your house in the 80s, not just like neon stuff, but like wood paneling and like have a tube TV and stuff, I think that's fine. Think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think it's okay to step foot in the past every once in a while, but you still got to live forward and move forward. And that's why I love buying Blu-rays and 4Ks along with VHSs. And so it continues with it says, I think that physicality is important, Falvey agrees, and that actually links to other forms of media as well. One of the reasons people still stand by vinyl is that it's the object that you can unfold. It's larger. It's not tactility. It's a sentiment which Josh Johnson from Severin Films also identifies with. Horror fans, and I include myself, are often avid collectors. That is very true. He concurs. We want something cool to hold in our hands and display on our shelves. That is very true. Something tangible, something you can hold, something you can have, something that just, it feels yours. It's not in this digital cloud where it's like you may never see it or never own it. I like the tangibility to in my hands. It feels something in my hands, physical wise, media wise, physical media wise, guys. The appeal of this tactility is fairly universal theme across fan communities. Scratch the surface of internet fan groups and you'll quickly discover a subculture of ardent enthusiasts curating their own libraries, posting pics of their favorite films, or hunting down missing titles. Did somebody do an article on me? With some labels such as Second Sight specializing in big box limited editions, the physical presence of mini releases even resemble VHS tapes. That is true. With horror fans now recreating a video shop aesthetic in the privacy of their own homes. This is something I talked about, and Brian Q brought this up in my documentary. I brought this up before. Us as collectors, we feel like we're chasing the video store, and that's what we're missing, and that's why we collect, because we grew up in that era, and we kind of remember. Some of us actually did have experiences where we went in there and talked to people and had fun at the video store, so we're trying to recreate that video store aspect in our own homes. Interestingly, this loyalty that fans frequently feel moves beyond the films themselves and extends to the labels releasing them. Hey, Randy, cult readings. Big no-no, big no-no. It's something that Holden is well aware of. As a brand's collection grows, there's the idea of wanting to be a completionist. He acknowledges, we've had inquiries from people asking if a particular limited edition will ever be in stock again, as it's the only one they're missing. It's also amazing to see people posting that they've just received a new limited edition we've released, and it's a film they haven't yet seen. So there's also a trust in the curation process and blind buying. That's true, but I don't necessarily always blind buy. I tend to try to buy stuff that I like. Says the ability to see labels not only as business selling as product, but as friends recommending undiscovered titles. That's one reason why I like to do my channel, do movie reviews. I like to recommend titles to you guys that maybe you've never heard of or you've forgotten about, or maybe you saw in a fever dream late night on cable. It's something Francisco Simone, sorry if I mispronounced it, of Radiance Films and before that, Arrow, agrees with. I think fans see themselves in labels, he nods. People will perhaps unconsciously ask themselves, is this a label that represents my taste and interests? He goes on, I think in large part it's about trust. If someone buys a product, whether it's only one they know well or don't at all, and they come away feeling delighted, surprised, inspired, then they're going to come back looking for more. I cannot agree with more with that. I don't think there's much I can say on that aspect of it. I agree with that totally. It continues with, the sense of shared identity is not new to horror community. It is something that Justin Liberty from Vinegar Syndrome, yes, Vinegar Syndrome, feels has existed for decades. Collecting has never really gone away. Exactly, he muses. We've had a rabid collector since the VHS era, and many, including myself too, have kept on through each format since. But with new editions boasting not only high-def versions and extensive extras, including interviews, commentary tracks, academic essays, and alternative cuts, the result is a cornucopia of additional content, making it golden era for film geeks. I could not agree more with that. I love a good box set from these boutique labels with special features, essays, booklets, posters, and and this is also, I want to get this across. I love the movie as well. I don't just buy it for the essays, the posters, the booklets. I buy it because I want to see the movie, and I will rewatch the movie thousands of times because it's something I love and enjoy, and I love all the extra goodies. That's just like a capper on top for me. As it continues, it says, save the day. There's a have to return some videotapes. There's another dimension to all this, the one which goes deeper than the joy of simply celebrating and discovering beloved horror classics, something that speaks to the heart of film preservation itself. With streaming catalogs carrying surprisingly few titles, according to Surfshark, Netflix US currently has only around 4,035 films, and the availability of these being entirely dependent on changeable licensing agreements, online access is unstable 100%. It risks some films slipping into obscurity for good. As Holden puts it, boutique labels are a very important part of film preservation now. Boom. That is, I love that. I couldn't agree with more with that. Look, like I said, if you like streaming and stuff, that's absolutely fine. Stream, digital, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with, but be aware you are not getting everything on streaming. With these boutique labels and stuff, they are preserving films and stuff that you may never see, and a lot of stuff that they give you are not on streaming or digital, period. So it is always important to buy your favorites, especially as horror collectors and collectors in general, or people just love movies. It's always important to find some of your favorites, some of those movies that you miss, grew up with, that you really want to have on a physical copy. And I think these boutique labels are doing a hell of a job. It's something that the Liberty expands on. Vinegar Syndrome is also a fully operational film archive and lab with great videos too. You should check out their video they did on what is an inner positive over on Vinegar Syndrome. Great video. With a dedication to preservation, he says, as well as employing full-time film archivists who conserve tens of thousands of film elements in a climate-controlled archive. For films we have released and many that we have not, he sees this kind of long-term preservation as a big part of our mission. The fact that films that might otherwise be lost can be saved for future generations in another check in the box for collecting and enjoying. 100%. The advantages of having physical media collection in a digital age, so many great advantages of having physical media collection, especially your favorites in the digital age. It's just, I love this. I love this article. I really do. I have not read this all the way through. I wasn't going to read the whole article, but the more I'm reading it, I'm loving it. And I hope you guys are enjoying this video because it's probably going to be pretty long because I'm really, really enjoying this and hearing this. And I can't agree more with a lot of this. It says, so what's next for horror or home media? I don't think we're going to see any format changes, says Simone. 4K, yes. People, stop. There's never going to be 8K. There will never be 8K disc. 4K UHD is the pinnacle of what can be achieved for home video. I literally cannot process any more information. You can't get more data out of a 35 millimeter negative, but there's still a new ground to be broken, perhaps in different ways. Oh, what's this? There's no shortage of films out there, suggests Johnson, and you'd be surprised to learn that it's uncommon for Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, Mondo Maccabee, or Indicator to be fighting over the same titles. In fact, many of us work together in some capacity. Awesome. I love hearing that. Shout Factory, you could learn from this. We'll all share a passion for the auteur film and the common goal to craft the best possible releases for fans and collectors. Is there any cause more noble, adventurous, and fun? Well said. That is one. I could agree with that more. That right there. And with the future of film, from cult classics to undiscovered gems hanging in the balance, we're inclined to agree. At any rate, it's a beautiful time to be a horror fan and collector. With that being said, I wanted to also, I wanted to show you guys some of my titles that I have here. This is Kino Lorber, Monster Squad. This is something on 4K. This is amazing. Got Tata Andre Gower. This was awesome. This is what they're talking about preserving. I wanted to show some of this. That right there. I don't know if this is streaming anywhere, but if it is, I mean, I got it. I don't care. And then also the Scream Queen. This just came out from Visual Vengeance. I love this movie. I don't think this is available anywhere. This is a shot on video movie from the 90s. It was finished in 2000s. I do not believe this is streaming anywhere. This is something they talk about, like the VHS era and on Blu-ray, because this is was shot on VHS tape, and now it's on Blu-ray. and it's awesome. It comes with loads of goodies. And then like just watch this, Dunwich Horror from Arrow Video, amazing movie. I'm not sure if this is streaming or not, but this is Roger Corman and stuff. Great movie. Dean Stockwell, great performance. And then also something like this, as they talk about Severin, we have Dracula versus Frankenstein, and then we also have Brain of Blood. These are great movies. I don't believe these are streaming anywhere as well too. And something that they didn't also talk about, I know they talk about horror, but also sci-fi and like sex comedies and stuff like this that you never see. This is from Culture Shock. The stuff like this you don't see on streaming a lot, and this is what's really helping physical media stay alive, movies and stuff like this. And I am so happy to be able to have these and to be able to see articles like this and to be able to make videos like this. And I just want you guys to know, go out there and buy your favorites, or find some of these boutique labels, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, Arrow, all these, stuff like that. And I didn't bring this up, but this is that's not a boutique label. This is Universal, but like stuff like this, it came from outer space. But my camera adjusted and stuff. But yeah, this is Universal. This is helping keeping film, stuff like this. There's just something special about these movies. And I see so many people, young and old, going back saying, I've never seen these, or what are those movies and stuff like that. And that's something why I like doing my channels and stuff. I know a lot of videos I do like this tend to get well received, but like videos when I do reviews and stuff, they don't do as well as these, but that's okay, because I do it in hopes that maybe somebody will see me do a review of something like, which I didn't do a review on this, but something like this, and then say like, I've never seen that. I want to see that now. And maybe they'll pick up, maybe they'll buy the Blu-ray. I know I've helped a lot of people actually buy Blu-rays. I helped somebody buy Frankenhooker. Nobody had never seen it before. They saw me talk about it on one of my streams, on one of my channels or whatever, videos, and they bought Frankenhooker and they loved it. So that's why I do this. And I couldn't agree that horror and cult movies and sci-fi, B movies, all that is keeping physical media alive and well. And I don't think physical media will ever die or to go away. Don't think it's dying. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. Do you agree with this article? Do you feel like horror and stuff like this is keeping physical media alive? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. And if you liked what you saw here, maybe consider hitting that like button or subscribing and hitting that bell for notifications. That would be awesome if I earned your guys' subscriptions. Or possibly share the video out for everybody to see, or join and become a channel member, because that would help out my channel immensely. Thank you, and shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for all your support and always having my back and always being here. And whether you like me, hated me, or liked this video or hated this video, I thank you for sticking this long. Wherever you all are, please have a great, safe, happy day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Always support physical media, because it truly is the superior format. Godspeed.